find that there's not much benefit. Now you may find that there's one supplier that's an utter disaster, and you've got two, you've got options here. One is that you speak to them and say, you've got to tidy up your act, or we're not going to deal with you. Or secondly, you say, we will do the supplier rec outside a month end as a one-off exercise, but we're going to do this for the next few months, but not forever, because we're in the 21st century. If you can't get organised, we don't want you. So now, when we take this sticker off, there's going to be a bit of a fight. Some people in the team will say, we must do supplier X, and others will say, get rid of them. Now, let's do hands up here. Who has got rid of supplier X? Yeah. And you still sleep well at night? Mm. Yeah.
Do your auditors not ask for them?
The auditors. The auditors only come in once a year, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
The suppliers still send statements.
Yeah, yeah. But seriously, any auditor that says you have to do supplier X, go to their partner and say, why are you signing off on Cisco or American Express or BP, whoever the big companies are? They're not doing it. You know what I mean? Auditors are signing off around the world on this. Why? Because you should have other controls. You know, it's not a top control, it's at the bottom of the cliff, is it not? Yeah, yeah. The control the order should go for is big, material orders are ordered properly and they're in the system and they're receipted properly. And that's how you pick up your liability, isn't it? That's where the control is. So, yeah, so I guarantee, if you have an audit senior that says to you, you have to have supplier X, you should never negotiate with it. Negotiate with your audit partner, because they actually know better. The big pictures, what the big picture is. Yeah. You will not have an argument with an audit partner on this, because they know they can sign off without this. So this one goes. Guarantee you that goes. You might say, we'll buy it with an exception, we'll do supplier rec for A and B only. So we've done a sort of negotiation in the group, that we've cut down to only 2 suppliers, and we'll stick it on this wall. And this wall here is stuff that we're going to do out of sync with month end, okay? Well, okay. Now, we've now sorted out, we've got some procedures that have been removed totally, okay? And some procedures are out of sync. So these are out of sync, and these ones over here are removed totally. We list these down. We've passed over tickets, cinema tickets, and I would suspect I wouldn't stop this exercise unless there are about 10 on this wall. You will find there's lots of spreadsheets that are being done, lots of checks and balances that don't need to be done. I know in companies that some people do GL recs of every balance sheet code in the, yeah. So every single balance sheet they're doing a rec. Now, you actually, I say, what are you reconciling to? And they say, oh, it's the GL. You mean you're using GL figures and reconciling back to GL? That's not a reconciliation. You're just summarising the GL in a spreadsheet. What's the purpose of that? Oh, just so I feel happy. Well, go to therapy. Yeah. Now, so you'll find, get rid of all that rubbish. A lot of Excels you'll find that should go. Yeah. And every single Excel that's around and alive and well is on here as a separate procedure, correct? You've got to make sure of that. There'll be a lot of lying going on otherwise. Now, the next thing you do is you say, let's look at the bottlenecks. Grab AP first, or thereabouts. AP, you've had your own session and you've discussed this. When do you think it should be cut off? You've heard what David said, or what we've said about what cut-offs around the world. And AP will say, well, we're going to go -1 or -2 or noon. Anyway, so they say noon. Let's assume they say noon. So what I now do is I get a different colour sticker, because we're now changing a procedure. I cross that off and I go -1, and I might put a little clue here as noon. I don't worry where it is, because this is not time bound, okay? This is just anything in the day. So just stick it down there. Now, if that's cut off, wow, that changes accruals. Now, accruals. We've heard from David that we can cut off accruals before AP. And people didn't think that was possible, nor did I till I saw it. AP can be cut off earlier, because if you say to a budget holder, we're cutting off AP at noon last working day, please get all your invoices in that you need to, for us to do, and you must get them in for us at close of play on day -2, because we've got the morning to process. Is that correct? Since you know that every invoice that you've sent us, hopefully electronically, not by snail mail, is coming to us, we will process it guaranteed. So you know that we're going to handle it. If we can't get it in time, we'll raise an accrual. You therefore know what to accrue, don't you? Day -2. Because you sent all your stuff to us in day -2. What haven't you got? You please accrue. So you can do your accruals here at 5 p.m. on last working day when you sent the stuff to us. Does that make sense?
Is the budget holder keeping some sort of track of the invoices he sent to you?
That's right. He's just saying here, I know that I've ordered these items, I haven't seen the invoice, I look on the system, it's not there, I know that, but you've told the budget holder, only do accruals for a greater than whatever it is. You've set some rules, haven't you? How many people here have set some rules on accruals? To me, we'd say minimum of, let's say, £1,000. We don't want you messing around unless your accrual's going to be, it could be even 10,000. Don't bother raising accrual if it's less than 10,000. And for some budget holders, you simply say to them, there's no accruals in your department. And they go, why? Because you don't have a big enough team or a big enough budget. And by the way, if you really, just get promoted, then you can do accruals. Yeah? So here we are. So we've set limits on accruals. We want the big accruals to come through only. And these people here are sending it electronically, and in some cases, if you're really switched on, they're putting their accruals directly into GL. Yeah? I mean, how far could they get that wrong? Debits and credits. The debits are on the left, there's one item and it's a credit on the right. Yeah. Yeah. Now, some systems will allow you to do it the wrong way around. Well, how long would it take to do a quick scan of those accruals before you press the button? Not much. So, otherwise you're going to have Excel at work, aren't you? And they're sending you Excel spreadsheets. Well, we don't want Excel in our system, or shouldn't. So, we've now started to move things back. Our month-end payment run, we've got day -1, is not going to happen now there. We've learnt our lesson. This is going to be -3, back to the last run, and it's not a check run, hopefully. And we look at when is finance going to do its final accruals, and we're going to say, well, we'll allow ourselves +1. Now, the next thing we want to do is look at AR. AR is green. So let's assume the AR sticker has been written, and we've got AR close off here, was actually +2, a nice soft close for them, and or an easy close, I should say. And we say, well, AR, you can't live there. What have you talked about? And AR say, yeah, we've agreed. We are going to go for here, and then somebody says from the sales team who are representing, oh look, you'll never get our invoices in time. We couldn't do that. Well, what invoices are we going to have a problem with? Well, they're going to say, well, any sales made in the afternoon, we'll never get it to you in that time. You say, well, okay, afternoon sales are going to be moved to the next month. Does that make sense? You mean to say we won't get commission on it till the following month? That's correct. That's how we'll do it. So they'll have to talk about that, and they might not be happy. But you say, well, you're going to have to live with this. So the sales team are going to will then make this. This is now noon, and this now becomes -1. Accounts receivable will love it. The team will love it. We might have a problem with the sales, right? That's why you have to have a representative from the sales team to get the drift. Some people will say when you're touching a procedure, oh look, you can't move that because IT won't be able to process it any earlier. And that's why you have somebody from IT here. Pat, is that true? Pat says, no, of course it's not. Because you can move it. And so you must have, in this session, one of the gurus from IT, which often means it's not the CIO, the Chief Information Officer, because they don't know anything about the systems. They're the manager. We're talking about one of the grey-haired workers who's been there for 20 years, who knows everything back to front. You know what I mean?